This is Carrie Cooper for Guitar Centre's Focus on Rock. So today we focus on one of the heavyweights of the guitar world, the icon that is the mighty Fender Telecaster. Though used to devastating effect by numerous guitarists, there are also a handful of rock heavyweights that have thoroughly rinsed the full potential of this venerable model over the decades. Muddy Waters, Keith Richards, Jimmy Page, Bruce Springsteen, Dave Gilmour, Mark Knopfler and George Harrison, to mention but a few. So to get to the top of its design story, we step back to the late 1940s. Post-World War II was a pioneering time for all sorts of manufacturers of the day, namely because of the distinct lack of suitable materials and apparatus. So the challenge was on to create a commercial electric guitar that could be made in large quantities, a challenge that was successfully risen to thanks to inventor Leo Fender. His vision had been to design a model that defied the feedback normally expected from amplified hollow bodies, and by the early 1950s that product became a reality. In fact, this model was born under a different name, the Broadcaster, but was swiftly changed to Telecaster, partly to avoid infringing on the Gretsch Company drumline and partly to give the impression of a more modern, forward-thinking approach to its marketing. Today, the Telecaster is built virtually the way it was in the early 50s and was basically the first customizable guitar, which was a great step forward. The bolt-on neck made both the neck and body separate and replaceable. So what exactly are the Telecaster's biggest claim to fame? Well, in terms of reach and record sales, it would have to be George Harrison's fondness for it. Not that Fender left him with much of a choice. In 1968, Fender decided to gift Sir George with a prototype Telecaster, sending it on a flight with a courier in its own seat, delivered directly to the door of the Apple offices in London. He used the guitar on the albums Let It Be, Abbey Road and the infamous Get Back sessions, and its big moment came when it played out on the Beatles' last ever performance on the roof of Apple HQ, before the police came along 40 minutes later telling them to turn it down. Jimmy Page was another rock maestro who would favourite the Telecaster over any other guitar. You may remember his famous Dragon Fender, the Telecaster that he used with Led Zeppelin in the late 60s and early 70s. Back when Page was in the Yardbirds in 1958, blonde Fender Telecaster was gifted to him by Jeff Beck, and the Dragon artwork appeared later when, in '67, he hand-painted a green, red and orange psychedelic dragon on the front of the body. He also replaced the pickguard with a pickguard made of clear acrylic. Whatever happened to that beauty of an instrument, the guitar that played the solo on Stairway to Heaven? In Jimmy's own words, "I still have it, but it's a tragic story. I went on tour with a '59 Les Paul that I bought from Joe Walsh, and when I got back, a friend of mine had kindly painted over my paint job. He said, 'I've got a present for you,' and he thought he'd done me a real favour. As you can guess, I wasn't real happy about that. His paint job totally screwed up the sound and the wiring, so only the neck pickup worked. I salvaged the neck and put it on my brown telestring bender that I used in the Firm. As for the body, it will never be seen again." And in August 1975, with the release of Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run, the iconic Telecaster is of course front and centre on the album cover, influencing a new generation of future guitar heroes. This is Carrie Cooper for Guitar Centre's Focus on Rock. You can shop for the greatest selection of music gear on earth in store or at guitarcentre.com.